This video has been supported by my Patreons. With the support I get from them, I can give you guys regular content and updates. It also helps me improve my channel and go to overseas conventions more often. So what are you waiting for? Go check me out on Patreon, and from just $1 a month, you can support me and the channel, get personal fursuit making help, and get some great rewards. Hope to see you there. Enjoy the video. G'day everyone, and welcome to a Maker Masterclass, where I give you my tips and tricks on how to get started as a fursuit maker. And today we are going to talk about fursuit making on a budget. This video will cover everything from equipment to materials, everything you will need to make a fursuit and the cheapest way I can find to get it. Today I'm going to take you on a journey from my local craft store to the deepest recesses of the internet in search of the cheapest fursuit making materials we can. So let's get started, shall we? First, let's start with equipment, as you can't make a suit without the correct tools. We will be prioritizing offline purchases to save on shipping. However, we will see if we can get it cheaper online as well. If I were to outline the basic equipment for a fursuit, I'd say we need scissors, sewing needles, hot glue, and a glue gun, at the very basics. We will throw in a bread cutter for thick foam, clippers for fur, and a sewing machine as optional extras, as you can technically get by without these by putting in a little bit of extra elbow grease. Everything I'll be purchasing today is in Australian dollars, so be sure to convert to your local currency using Google for a more accurate representation. So let's start with scissors. We don't really want to use kitty craft scissors, as they literally won't cut anything. So we'll need an alright pair of sewing scissors. So off to our local craft store we go, except no, because they wouldn't let me film in their store. So instead, we're going to go onto their website, and I'm going to show you guys what I can get via click and collect or anything like that. Always try to find things locally first, as you can save loads on shipping. So all of the things I'm showing you right now are stuff I can get personally at my local craft store. You might be able to find it cheaper in yours or a bit more expensive, but have a look around. Okay, so since Spotlight won't let me film in their stores, we're going to browse online, because you can get click and collect and stuff like that with certain places. So we're going to do the search first. So first we need sewing scissors, so let's do that. They look the right shape, they look hard enough, and in this kit comes with a measuring tape and unpick, some sewing needles, and I think there's a safety pins. Alright, so there we go, $7.50. Boom. That takes care of our scissors, our needles as well, and we've got other stuff in there as well, so I think that's excellent. So $7.50 is our starting thing. Alright, so now we need a glue gun and glue. So we need a glue gun. Alright, so the cheapest one I've been able to find whilst looking on here, I tend to use high temperature glue guns. Some people ask me, but look, here's a low temp and a high temp. You can use low temp, you just got to make sure that you have the right sticks for it. Yeah, there you go, 2 for $10. So yeah, let's add that. That's $17 in total so far. We need glue sticks, so let's go for hot glue sticks. Next. Sick. 100 for $8. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that'll get you through the entirety of a mini partial really easily. So let's add that to the total. So say you think that's pretty cheap, so you want to splurge. So you want to get a sewing machine to help you, as well as an electric knife for foam cutting and some clippers for shaving. Now the cheapest one that I could find at Spotlight was this one here, $100. I think we can do better, so to the internet. I reckon we can find it cheaper, so we're going to go to Gumtree or Craigslist or whatever your area's equivalent secondhand is. Sewing machine. So we are going to have a look, and we're going to make sure we find one that actually works. In good working order, $50 from Geelong. Easy. There's a sewing machine for you, probably better than the ones that we buy there anyway. In good working order. Now we want to find a bread cutter to make our foam carving just a little bit easier. Of course, electric knife. There we go. So these are the kinds of ones you're going to be looking at. If you get the images up. These are the kind of ones you're going to be looking at. It has a button and it has 2 blades that slide beside each other. So, electric knife from Kmart, which is in New Zealand, but you know, we have them in Australia as well. It's $22. This is the one I currently own. It comes with 2 blade sets and it works just as well. Not as nice as the first one I owned, but honestly, it's good enough. And finally, some dog clippers. Alright, You could probably use a human hair trimmer if you really wanted, but 35 bucks. The cheapest one so far, 33 bucks. $23. I think that, oh no, that's AU, so yeah, 20 bucks. Easy, and you've got guards as well, so you can mess around with that. I don't know the actual lengths of these, so I can't say too much, but easy. Oh, there's cheaper. 21. 20. Can I hear a 19? Can I hear a 19? A 19. Can I hear an 18? No. I've got, oh, freaky postage. Excellent. There we go. And that's our equipment out of the way, bringing our grand total with optional extras to... Not bad. Now we have our equipment, let's go get our materials. We are going to assume the maker on a budget will go with a mini partial, as this is the most complete yet cheapest option to making a fursuit. I'm also laying down some laws right now. We are not using anything secondhand, purely for sanitary reasons, and I can't comfortably promote you using materials secondhand, as I can't be sure that it won't make you sick. So let's start with fur. People are going to slap me when I say this, but toy fur isn't bad if you use it correctly. A while back, my friend Will made an incredible goat fursuit using white toy fur, and it actually looks pretty decent. However, I wouldn't recommend using it for a bodysuit, but partials are just as good in my opinion. Let's say the minimum for this section will be toy fur for a partial, and let's splurge and even get some nice longer furs for accents. Toy fur is about 20 bucks a meter, so say we need 2.5 for a mini partial. That's 65 plus $14 for the little splurge, $79. There's not really much else I can do to reduce this price down, unless you maybe buy offcuts of a maker. Even then, you may not reduce the price down by much. But have a look around at local places and see what you want to use. You may find cheaper. Good fur has a nice backing that isn't slippery or patchy. But let's say we want to splurge, and let me show you the cheapest places to find nice professional quality materials. So the cheapest place I've been able to find luxury shag is from Big Z Fabrics. This is where it is $21 US a meter, which is about 32 Aussie dollary dues. Just multiply that for a partial and it comes to about $80 even. Add on shipping to your area, which will probably vary between $30 to $130, and you can understand why I recommend local finds first. Besides the furs, there are other fabrics you will need, including lycra and minky. There are some substitute for these that come out a little bit cheaper, so let's find them. So I don't know if these guys have it up. Yeah, they have the dot. Now, fun fact with Minky Dot, if you do get this in your store, you can iron it flat and you won't be able to see it. You've done that before. $12 a meter if you sign up with your email address. I know their normal Minky's a bit cheaper than that, probably about $10 a meter. But you know, I think we probably only need half a meter of this if you were to go in and actually buy it. So say that's $6 less even. If we're looking at Minky substitutes, in terms of what I use Minky for, I also use vinyl. Which is $20 a meter, so that's a bit more expensive. You could use fleece if you really wanted, again, more expensive, so Minky's probably your best option there. Now, let's look at Lycra. Spandex, that's what it's called. Here we go. So I actually use some of this stuff for the inside of my head sometimes. It's really nice, it's moisture wicking, but it's $40 a meter. So we're going to talk about what is cheaper to use as stretch lining. I don't know if this is soft or what. I've never used it. Let's see. Oh yeah. So something like this would also work. It's got a bit of stretch to it, and I feel like you want that bit of stretch with your lining. Means you can glue it to the inside a bit easier. But I'll show you what I use nowadays. Scuba Knit. $14 per meter. You can get it in many different colors, $10 a meter. It doesn't matter particularly what you line your head with. You can use it, so yeah, $10 a meter, I'd say. For that, and I probably get half a meter, so I'll add that $5 dues. Alright. We can find similar spandex on Big Z for about $10 a meter, which isn't bad at all. And Minky for about $8. So we will probably need half a meter of each, so that brings our minimum total to... I think we have all our fabrics now, so let's talk foam. I don't personally buy my foam online. I get all of my foam from a store called Clark Rubber. Whilst they may look like a pool shop from the outside, inside they have many different kinds of foam and rubber that are all cut to measure, or you can buy offcuts, or whatever it is that you want. Now I usually buy about 1.5 meters by 1 meter piece. It's probably about 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. It usually costs me about 20 bucks and I can get a head or 2 out of it. Some Clark Rubber stores have an off-cut bin where they have little bits and pieces from leftover cut to measure stuff that they'll sell for really cheap. So be sure to raid that first. I usually, if I have the option, I will always raid that to get a good deal. And sometimes they'll, because I go there so often, sometimes they'll just be like, you'll have all this stuff for 10 bucks. And I'm like, hey, thank you, my dude. However, if you can't find a local supplier in your country, let's jump online and see what we can find. So we're gonna go to Amazon. I'm gonna go upholstery foam. I generally go 1 inch to 2 inches. Yeah, that. I don't know how, hold on. This is 1/2 meter. Something like that would work as a start if you got 2 or 3 of them. So yeah, about 20 bucks. Yeah, something like this will do you really, really well. Seems most foam will go for about $30 US, which is about double what I pay here. So try to find your hardest to find a local foam source for your suits. Fur, fabrics, foam, what's next? I think it's time we look for eye materials. Now, this is what I used for my eyes way back when, and it will work for yours too. It runs you about 4 bucks a sheet, and you can double it up for extra concealment. You can also buy it on Amazon for around the same price. I tend to find Buckram's a bit hard to find, and I can also use cross-stitch match for the same price by just buying about 10 to 20 centimeters of it. Now for craft foam. I used to be able to buy these individually, but no longer, unfortunately, so I used to buy these big packs before I started 3D printing. Only goes you about 15 bucks for the lot, but if you can buy individually, then expect to pay maybe $1 each. Now we need some acrylic paint to sew our eyes with. 12 bucks for an assorted pack, and finally, we want some thread to sew our suit together with. So if you're hand sewing, I recommend splurging and getting the nicest upholstery thread you can find. This is the stuff I found for about 10 bucks. If you're using a sewing machine, I just recommend getting the normal thread and just getting a larger roll. Again, about 10 bucks. So that's about everything, and that brings our grand minimum total to... Ta-da! Still not great, but cheaper than you would be paying if you ordered premium. This is where we talk about why fursuits cost so much to commission, yada yada, but I don't want to lecture you guys. Either way, I hope this showed you guys how cheap, or not so cheap, fursuit making can be. This was the cheapest materials and equipment I could find locally, but I'm sure if you scavenged $2 stores, you may be able to find cheaper, but I can't guarantee they won't explode. So I'm not going to advocate that on the internet. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Maker's Masterclass. Comment down below with what you'd like to see next time. I respond to all comments within the first 2 hours of it going public, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!